at Blick Art Materials. Now, this is a commercial or professional art supply store. It's not your standard Michaels or AC Moore or anything like that. So I'm here because the main goal is that I am going to get various types of papers in order to create the leaf casting for the Hulk 181. And with me is the back cover of the Hulk 81 that I am going to bring in the store, and we are going to match up the cover so we can do the best leaf casting job we can. So stay tuned. Okay guys, these cabinets are all filled with various papers and pulps. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through them one by one and try to find the proper texture to meet the standards that I have with the Hulk 181. So stay tuned. Okay guys, this is a piece of paper. It's Japanese mulberry. I wanna get this to mix it with the pulp because as you can see, it has long fibers. So this will be a nice strengthening addition to the pulp that I'm going to use. It is $10.99 a sheet. Stay tuned. YouTube, I'm back in my workshop and I hope you enjoyed my little field trip going to the art supply house, and I just want to briefly talk about paper pulp. So what I want to do for the Hulk 181 is I really want to pay particular attention to matching up the paper pulp to the actual cover. So here is the cover. If it's picking up on the camera, I don't believe there is any reason why it wouldn't be. So this is the back cover. So there is a slight yellowing of the cover. So I chose this acid-free. This is all high-quality printing paper. It is a little darker than the color of the cover, but I think I am going to be able to lighten the pulp up to match perfectly. The reason being is because one of my subscribers suggested to me that I mix with my paper pulp, and the subscriber is Michael Mayrind. So Michael Mayrind, if you are watching, I am giving you credit. Michael Mayrind, I believe, is some type of artist or deals with paper, and he suggested that I mix with my pulp mulberry paper, Japanese mulberry paper. So this is the Japanese mulberry paper. This one sheet of paper was $10. It's very fine paper, very strong paper, but I don't know if the camera's picking it up. One thing that it does have is very long fibers. That's why the paper is strong. So I believe by adding this to my pulp mixture, and this is another form of paper that I'm going to try, which is another strong paper with long fibers. By adding this to the paper, it's going to create a stronger pulp for me to use. And I did notice there are a few paper conservationists that I watch on Instagram and on other internet sites, and I see that when they do leaf casting, the ends of the leaf casting, it looks like spider webs coming out. And I'm guessing, based on my research and my subscribers that I just mentioned in his suggestion, I am guessing they are adding some type of mulberry paper into the pulp. So I hope this is not boring to everyone. I just want to show you each step that I take. And I do get a lot of comments and questions how I make the pulp, the mixtures, and whatnot. So Another thing that I'm going to do is I cut the paper that I'm going to use into 2-inch strips. I also am going to cut them in 2-inch going across horizontally sections, so then I have 2-inch squares, so I can fine tune the color, because we're going to do a practice run of the pulp in my leaf casting machine that I just developed, and I am going to see if I could actually match it up perfectly. So I want to put down and document how many pieces I put, so I can replicate and I can adjust. So stay tuned, YouTube. Hopefully you enjoyed this upload, but I'm trying to bring you along with me, so you're there right along with me. And I think next upload we're gonna have the leaf casting station hooked up, and we will do a test run on a mock cover, and we'll see how the table and the new mixture works. So stay tuned, YouTube. Thank you. Okay, guys, what we're gonna do now is I want to test the leaf casting table as well as the pulp that I made. So what I did was I got 2 pieces of blue copying paper, and we're going to use this as a test to see how the table works, as well as how it fills in with pouring it over, because this is a new technique that I want to do. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to wet the actual pieces that I am using for my test in the new leaf casting process. Now I'm very happy with the way the casting or the pulp came out. Very happy. The way I did it was a little different than in the past, and in particular I hand shredded the paper and I let it soak for a lot longer. So the pulp is really nice. So what we're gonna do is, the paper is wet. I think it's wet enough. It definitely is. So that's good. The next thing that I want to do is I want to create the perimeter for the leaf casting. So what we'll do is we'll put 1 piece of my foam right here. We'll put the other piece right here. That's pretty good, because this is a test to see how this method works, as well as testing the actual color of the pulp, because it's very important for me to get a nice color compared to the color of the 181. Okay, so now we got that done. So I'm gonna put the machine on, and then we're gonna pour the pulp over, and we're gonna see how it sucks in. I don't know if this is gonna be a good method or a bad method. That's why I'm testing it on these pieces of paper. I'll give the pulp a little blending. I'm not blending my pulp as much as in the past. This is the color of the pulp that we have right here. So it is a nice color. So let's start this process. I'm gonna put on the vacuum. Okay, so whether that is going to work, I am uncertain. I honestly think I may not like this process, but we're gonna see, because I don't know if I'm able to get it consistent the way I want to. So what we're gonna do is we will remove the pieces of the craft foam. Let's start with that. We'll see how it's gonna go. And I'm not gonna know really until it sets. But I'll tell you right now, I have a feeling that I think I may like my method better dealing with the medical syringe that I use. Let's take this off. But this is not wasted, because a key thing is to see how the pulp is going to dry. Let's remove this. Let's see how this goes. It actually looks pretty good, guys, but you never know until it actually dries. So one thing that you want to do when you're doing this is, excuse me for a second, you want to try to blot the areas that you don't want pulp in. And this is a reason why I like the syringe method better, because you're better able to control it. But the problem is, when you do the syringe, or the blue medical syringe that I use, I missed pieces in the past. And that created a big problem, because once you miss the pieces and I try to fill them in, the leaf casting job is really not a good job, because then wrinkles happen. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to set this up, and I am going to put the other piece of the Remain paper on top, and then we're going to press it in our cold press, and then we're going to see how it turns out. So let's cover this. Okay. And now what I want to do is I want to try to absorb the liquid. I'll tell you right now, I like the method, but I don't think I'm going to use it for the Hulk 181. I think rather I'm going to use the syringe. And when I say the syringe, that's my blue ear canal medical cleaner that I use. I think I'm going to use that instead. And what I'll do is I'll map out the areas in the Hulk 181 cover that needs to be focused on with the pulp. So stay tuned, YouTube. I'm going to work on this a little bit. Remember, this is just a test to see how the colors turn out and whether this method helps, and I believe it does. But stay tuned. In the next segment, this will be dried, so it will probably be in a day. Stay tuned, YouTube.